A mason jar, 5 minutes, 14 days. Fresh basil, mint, oregano, and cilantro. No soil, no garden, no experience. The herb in your grocery store was cut up to 2 weeks ago. It has been losing its medicinal compounds every hour since. What you are about to build is the opposite of that. 5,000 years ago, every major civilization, China, Mesopotamia, Egypt, independently arrived at the same plants. The Egyptian Ebers papyrus alone cataloged over 850 plant-based treatments, separated by thousands of miles and years. All of them kept finding basil, oregano, and mint. In 2001, the United States Department of Agriculture finally explained why. The ORAC database found blueberries score 4,600 ORAC units per 100 grams. Ground oregano scores over 200,000 units, 42 times the antioxidant power. Not in an exotic supplement. In the herb in a $2 clamshell at your grocery store, getting weaker by the hour. And that is just the headline number. Researchers found a polyphenol called rosmarinic acid inside nearly every herb in the mint family. Studies found it inhibited human cancer cell growth, protected neurons from stroke-level oxygen deprivation, and reduced inflammation in atopic dermatitis patients. Antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, across dozens of peer-reviewed studies. In oregano specifically, carvacrol was tested against 11 bacterial strains, and it showed inhibitory effects against every single one. Pharmaceutical researchers are now studying it as a potential antibiotic alternative. These are not the same herb. Each one is a different biochemical factory. Basil targets the same anti-inflammatory pathway as ibuprofen through eugenol, fat-soluble. Pair it with olive oil, and bioavailability multiplies. Tear it onto warm food after the heat is off. Heat destroys the volatile oils. The later you add it, the more medicine reaches you. Oregano's carvacrol is heat-stable. Add it early into fat. A sprig in warm olive oil at the start of cooking distributes its compounds through the entire dish in a way dried flakes never achieve. Mint delivers cognitive benefits through aroma alone. No consumption required. A study in the International Journal of Neuroscience found measurable memory and alertness improvements from peppermint scent exposure. A living mint plant on your desk releases those compounds continuously. Cilantro is a documented chelator of heavy metals. Animal studies show it reduces lead accumulation in bone tissue. Treat it as a finishing herb only. 30 seconds in a hot pan collapses the volatile oils. Pair it with fat, avocado, olive oil, or coconut milk. Fat-soluble compounds absorb better with dietary fat present. Now here is what happens the moment any of these are cut from a living plant. Vitamin C begins degrading within hours. Volatile aromatic oils start evaporating immediately. Polyphenols drop measurably every day in transit. The basil in your grocery clamshell was cut days ago, driven hundreds or thousands of miles, sorted, shelved, and then placed in your cart. Every hour of that journey, rosmarinic acid, carvacrol, eugenol, and menthol are degrading. Nobody puts a sticker on the clamshell that says it was cut 11 days ago, and half of what made it valuable is already gone. They just sell it to you. That clamshell costs $2 to $3, roughly $40 per pound. A single Kratky basil plant produces the equivalent of 20 to 30 of those clamshells. You can get $40 to $90 of basil from a $3 seed packet. A family growing 5 varieties spends under $40 for the entire year versus $200 to $500 at the store. 40% of grocery herbs never get eaten, straight from the fridge to the landfill. First, a mason jar of basil generates no equipment sales, no fertilizer revenue, no supply chain activity. An economy cannot subsidize what it cannot monetize. Second, home herb growing is impossible to commercialize. Basil seeds cannot be patented. Tap water cannot be sold by subscription. The food industry depends on you believing production requires expertise you do not have. A jar of water dismantles that in 2 weeks. Third, fresh herbs are perishable by design. Dried oregano ships anywhere and lasts 2 years. Fresh oregano at full carvacrol concentration lasts 4 days and favors whoever grew it. The system cannot profit from it. What it cannot profit from, it does not teach. The global supplement industry turns over $170 billion a year selling the same compounds these plants produce, in synthetic and less bioavailable form. 5 jars on your counter make that unnecessary. Research shows polyphenols in whole food form absorb more effectively than isolated supplements. The plant delivers cofactors the body evolved to process together. A quercetin study found significantly better absorption from whole apple than the equivalent supplement dose. The food is the delivery mechanism. The pill is a photocopy. In 1990, NASA funded research at the University of Wisconsin on growing plants with LED lights. That research continued at Kennedy Space Center. In 2014, astronauts on the International Space Station were eating fresh lettuce grown in orbit using that technology. The LED shop light at your hardware store for $12 exists because NASA needed to grow food in a tin can orbiting Earth at 28,000 kilometers per hour. Nobody told you to use it for herbs because nobody profits when you do. When supply chains collapsed in 2020, a generation of apartment dwellers with no gardening background discovered they could grow medicinal-grade herbs year-round with hardware store gear. Seed companies ran out of stock. They were not discovering something new. They were rediscovering something the modern food economy had found no reason to tell them. Plant scientist Bernard Kratky at the University of Hawaii asked one question. What if you placed a plant's roots in nutrient water inside a sealed, opaque container and simply let it manage itself? As the plant drinks, water drops, and creates an air gap. Roots there absorb oxygen directly. Submerged roots absorb minerals. The plant engineers its own environment automatically. No pump, no timer, no electricity, no monitoring. Set it and it runs itself. Total cost under $30. Everything except nutrients is one time. Any opaque container will work. A mason jar wrapped in electrical tape, a recycled coffee can, or a dark plastic storage bin. It must block all light from the nutrient solution. Net cups are small, slotted plastic baskets, under $1 each. Or poke holes in a small plastic cup. Growing medium is clay pebbles, rock wool, or coconut coir. It anchors the stem. It does not feed the plant. Hydroponic nutrients are required. Use Master Blend tomato formula and calcium nitrate at 2.4 grams each, plus 1.2 grams of Epsom salt per gallon. This mix lasts 1 to 2 years. Pre-mixed liquid nutrients work equally well. Full spectrum LED shop light at 6,500 Kelvin. 6 to 8 inches above basil, 8 to 10 inches above oregano and mint, 10 to 14 inches above cilantro. Mechanical timer set to 14 hours. Fill the container to 2 inches below the net cup. Add nutrients. Adjust pH to between 5.8 and 6.2. Place the net cup so its bottom just touches the water. Fastest method is cuttings. Strip lower leaves from a 4-inch stem and place it through the net cup so it reaches into the water. Roots emerge in 5 to 7 days. Harvestable leaves in 2 to 3 weeks. One grocery store living basil plant divides into 8 to 10 cuttings, each becoming a full plant. Place under the light. Set the timer. Under 5 minutes. The plant does the rest. The moment you cut a leaf, the volatile oils begin evaporating. A basil leaf loses a measurable percentage of aromatic oils within 30 minutes. Use what you cut within minutes. For basil and mint, cut just above a leaf node. The plant produces 2 new stems from that point. Every harvest is a command to grow bushier. For cilantro, harvest outer leaves first. When the center stalk elongates upward, harvest everything immediately. Still potent, but the window is short. Delicate herbs like basil, cilantro, and mint add after the heat is off. Robust herbs like oregano, thyme, and rosemary add early into fat. 2 rules. When basil matures, take 4-inch cuttings and place in plain water. Roots in 5 to 7 days, then transfer to a new jar. One plant yields 6 to 12 cuttings. Each becomes a full plant. One $4 grocery store plant produces basil indefinitely. Mint roots from runners in under a week. Cilantro self-seeds. Let one plant flower and collect the dried seeds. 5 jars at staggered stages. $20 a year in nutrients. The system never stops. For most of human history, access to fresh medicinal herbs was determined by where you were born. Mediterranean populations grew oregano. Apartments in northern climates grew nothing. The knowledge existed. The access did not. A studio apartment in Minneapolis in January can now grow the same fresh oregano at the same compound concentration as a farmer in rural Greece. The light is artificial, but the plant does not know that. The chemistry inside the mason jar is identical to what has been growing in Mediterranean soil for 5,000 years. This is not a gardening story. It is an access story. And for the first time, it ends the same way for everyone. 5 minutes to build. 14 days to your first harvest. 2 times the antioxidants of blueberries. No soil, no sunlight, no permission needed. If you know someone spending $40 a pound on wilted herbs, send this to them. Subscribe for the next one. I will see you there.